Our next speaker is not only a top European academic, he's also a renowned scientist in his own right, a specialist in neuroscience, an authority also on global health policy and governance. Please welcome Ole Petter Ottersen, Rector of the University of Oslo, to the stage. Thanks. Go ahead with your remarks. Thanks.
So first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm not here in my capacity today as a neuroscientist, neither as a rector, but as somebody who's deeply engaged in global health issues, as you pointed out. So I was convinced by the chair to focus entirely on some issues related to global health. And what I will focus on, in fact, is one single word in the title of this session: all, a benefit for all citizens and a driver for growth. I think one of the major challenges ahead is simply to ensure accessibility and to reduce the tremendous health inequities that we have in our world today. So the take-home message is quite clear, and the question is extremely simple. Just a fraction of the world's population benefits from the sophisticated technological advances in medicine that we have heard so much about during this particular conference. And many do not take part in innovations at all within the field of medicine. There are tremendous health inequities still, and in many parts of the world, these health inequities are on the rise. So we have to organize and govern ourselves in a different manner, and I should say, this is also what I consider innovation, but at a very different level. So BIOVISION has this goal to ensure global health through customized approaches. And I would say that governance, global governance, should be customized for health. Because inequities are harmful, we all know this, and that's true also for those at the top. And the Ebola crisis is a point that we should really make lessons from. Many people now, they are very aware of the fact that Ebola has obviously much to do with infection by medicine in a classical sense, but it's also a matter of global governance at fault. And Paul Farmer said it very eloquently: the terrorism of poverty, that's Ebola. So what we have done, and I was the head of this particular endeavor, was to form a commission, an international commission, to look into the global governance aspects of health, to try to understand how decisions that are taken outside of the health sector, in all other political sectors, impact health, very often in a negative manner. We're talking about the political determinants of health. This commission consisted of 18 different people from different parts of the world, 15 countries being represented. And we looked into 7 policy arenas outside of the health sector, and these are shown here, to try to understand and analyze what are the health impacts of the policies in these different political arenas. One example of how important this exercise is shown by this, I would admit, rather extreme example. There are tremendous and very valuable initiatives taken in this world today. Vaccine initiatives, other technical interventions aimed at specific diseases, and they are wonderful and they provide results. But they are extremely fragile. They're dependent on the political landscape, which are conducive to those technical interventions. We saw this very clearly when the Syria crisis came up. Just about a year ago, we had this lesson from the WHO, a global health emergency in Syria. Polio was almost eradicated. But then, because of this conflict, many of these efforts were in vain. Polio is again on the rise. So this shows that we have to pay attention, although this is an extreme example, we have to pay attention to the political landscape outside of the health sector. Another very important issue, I was just visiting Latin America. As was said just a few minutes ago, non-communicable diseases, including diabetes 2, is on the rise, despite the fact that we know much more about these diseases when it comes to their mechanisms than ever before. In Latin America, this is also a growing problem among children. So it's irrelevant just to point to the personal choices involved when it comes to lifestyle and so forth. We have to look into the political mechanisms that are at play when it comes to this rise in diabetes 2 among children. Marketing of unhealthy food is one typical example. So within the field of food security, there are multiple examples that we analyze in our report and that should be taken into account in an innovative fashion when it comes to the idea of promoting global health in the future. One example, financial speculation in food commodities. This is something that is done by people who are not held accountable for the effects. And we know that financial speculation in food commodities was one reason, one of several reasons for the food crisis that we had in 2007, 2008, because of the price volatility. There are other examples when austerity packages, bailout packages are formed. There is very little attention paid to the possible health effects. Again, we are looking at decisions made in political arenas outside of the health sector that severely affect health. So the Commission comes up with a number of proposals, a number of innovations, I would say. And there is no time to discuss these here today, but two of these proposals are shown here. There is an urgent need for a policy forum that can bring together stakeholders also outside of the health sector, bring them together with industry and also with WHO, obviously. And now we have established an independent monitoring panel that goes much more deeply into some of the cases that I showed you just a few minutes ago, to better understand and to instill awareness of the extreme dependency of health on political arenas outside of the health sector. So, to ensure that research and innovation that benefit all citizens, the title of this particular session, we have to have innovative thinking on how health can be taken into account when decisions are made in all policy arenas. We have to customize global governance for health because, as you all know, disease is not just biology gone awry, and health is not just a technical outcome. There are very important political determinants of health, and the analysis underneath these assertions are found in the report that I just alluded to. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much indeed. There's so much we could talk about there, but I'll be in big trouble if I let the schedule slip any further. But I would like to just try and pull together your interest in health economics with your scientific background in neuroscience. Tell me whether you're optimistic or pessimistic about the progress towards a treatment for dementia.
Well, obviously, I'm an optimist. That's quite clear. And I think the key word here is awareness. Because what we stumbled upon during our work in this commission is that there is not sufficient awareness of the toll that these decisions take on the human population, socially as well as economically, when it comes to health. So awareness is a key, and I think we need even more scientific evidence to support the idea that we have to bring innovation to the fore, also when it comes to the policy arenas. And of course, it's very strange that I, as a molecular biologist that was working on diseases on the molecular level, now ended up at the other extreme, so to speak. But it has all to do with the imperative to act. As a physician, of course, we should act when we see that health is being endangered, and the scale by which health is endangered in this realm of the global governance system is enormous. So I think there is a room and a future for thinking along those lines.
Thank you very much indeed, Ole, and please feel free to join the audience.